Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over a very interesting video, and you guys really need to know this. I think I've covered it before, but I may have never covered it before. Why avoidants initiate with everyone or everything other than you. Actually, particularly in like work dynamics, to be honest. Work, friendship, their hobbies. Why are they so committed? Why are they so initiative towards those dynamics, but not towards you, the person that they love, the person who loves them? And this is a very interesting topic. This is such a good conversation that we can have. And if you guys actually want to work with me one-on-one and actually, like iron those things out in your relationship so that you never have to really worry about these things ever again, the investment, I think, is worth it. Of course, that's why I offer it. And I love helping you guys. That's why I've dedicated my entire adult career and everything I've ever done to helping people. I love helping people. And I strongly believe in healing attachment styles as one of the best ways to have secure relationships. And I don't think you need to, as soon as you pick up those skills, I don't think it's ever going to go backwards, at least not entirely. And so I feel like this is very valuable. So if you guys are interested in that, it's pinned in the comments. It's also in the description. You can email me, you can book a call with me, and I have that set up for you. But let's go ahead and jump into the video. The first one is actually work dynamics and other dynamics have clear expectations. And so there's less chance of failing at something that's already laid out. Like, it's for them, if there's clear expectations, they know what to do and it's less likely to fail. So if they have not much an idea what to do, it's more likely for their fear of, I can mess up, I can fail, I don't know what I'm doing. It's more likely for them to feel that way because they don't have a clear idea. If you go into a class, for example, and maybe there's no syllabus or maybe there's no expectations of how the assignment is supposed to be done, aren't you uncomfortable if you're going to fail? A lot of people would be, but particularly avoidance, right? Both fearful and dismissive is going to feel like, sometimes they don't even want to do that. And avoidance may even feel they would avoid that or they would avoid classes like that. And if they feel like that's on repeat, they might feel like, okay, school's not for me. I'll do something else because they're going to fail is what they feel. And so relationships might feel like that. And we're going to talk about, actually, after we talk about why, I want to talk about how to readjust this in your relationship so that you don't make them feel this way and so that you can get that commitment and initiation. But that's why work dynamics and other dynamics feel more clear. The next one is there's a defined reward system. Avoidants work very clearly with a reward system. And I'm actually going to make more videos on this because I haven't really touched on it too much, but it's really, really important. Reward systems from other places, such as work or business related aspects, they are very clear. Money, a prominent title, recognition. And that's very obvious that avoidants are realizing I'm doing a good job. I'm not just failing, I'm succeeding. And that feels really good. Whereas in a relationship, sometimes it can feel like even if they do something, it's still not enough. Because now, why didn't you do A, B, and C? How come, Tammy's husband does this? How come John's wife does this? They're still failing. They're still failing even though they tried. Whereas if you build a reward system, now they're feeling really good. You're the best husband. You're the best wife. Recognition, right? You're amazing. Let's do this together. I feel so happy around you. Now you're in a better mood. There's a reward. And they feel better about that. The next one is, you might not like this, but it's true. The other party probably holds them more accountable. It might not even be on purpose. But what happens if they perform poorly at work? Well, they get fired. It's true. That's reality. If they are not doing well with their clients or their patients, what happens? Well, maybe they get a bad review. Maybe they lose their license. Maybe they get less revenue. That's what happens if you don't hold yourself accountable. But if they say something like, maybe they were at a seminar or whatever, they're giving a presentation, and some of the people are a little bit unhappy with their approach, they can hold themselves accountable and be like, you know what? I said that a little bit too harsh. You're right. Next time I want to do better, because they realize that their colleagues might be affected or the people, their business partners, whoever it is, will be affected. They were held accountable because people might say, hey, that was too harsh. I didn't like that. So maybe you're letting them slide. You're not holding them accountable. And that's really important. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. The next one is structure and urgency. I'm not saying an ultimatum, but I am saying there needs to be some deadlines, accountability, hierarchy, right? In work, there's a lot of that. So why can they show up at work and lead? This is why. There's all that stuff going on. There's so much structure within that component that's not there in the marriage or relationship. The next one is, to be honest, this is probably one of the more common ones. They're tired. Energy depletion, and when they come home or when they're around you, they don't have much bandwidth to show up with you. That's not fair, though. They need to allocate that properly, and there needs to be a conversation. Because if this is the issue, actually there's nothing you can do. They have to stop showing up so much at work and give more time to their family or their relationship. The next one is avoidance of losing you is like it has more rewards than showing up. And I'm going to explain that. This one's kind of hard to control though. Losing you is more hurtful than losing a job. I don't know if you guys understand that, but it's very true. You're not replaceable. You're a human. They love you. They can get a new job, maybe even a better job. It's really hard to replace somebody that you love and that you've invested in. So losing you and failing with you is just way scarier. And that's just something I want you guys to understand. It's going to take longer. And you can't always compare it to work because you're not a job. You're a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. You're a person. And if they lose you, it's devastating. It's very devastating. So it's scarier. That just means that you need to be more patient and let them ease in. And the last one is habit. Maybe you are so used to leading and initiating that they took the backseat. They took the passive role. And so how do we fix that? Make being a leader or more initiative concrete rather than abstract. I want you to, set up a date for us next Friday. Without me prompting. I don't want to remind you. Just remember, I want you to set up a date for us next Friday. I like places with, soups and salads on the menu. You're able to be more clear. Let them show up with what they need to do. And the next one is going to be it is not a sub point, but I'm going to talk about this point a little bit more and then we'll get to the next point because they kind of are one after another. If they don't show up or they don't do that, then you can say, you didn't do that. What's the reason? Did something happen? Can we set this up next week? You hold them accountable. And that's the next one. You give them full ownership when it's needed. You don't always want you to take always ownership or even partial ownership when you didn't do anything. There needs to be moments where they take full ownership of something and you need to set that for them. You can say, I felt like I was clear. I felt like I gave you enough time and you still didn't show up when you need to. So I hope that you can do it next week because that's what I'm expecting. It allows them to take that full ownership. You're right. I did say that. I should have done better. It allows them to show up in such a way where it's not just reinforcing that you are obviously not a pushover or doormat, which I don't want you to be, but it also reinforces the fact that you trust that they can do it. And that is really what really ignites them to want to initiate. The next one is you don't want to unintentionally reinforce passive behaviors. You don't want them to be passive. I know it's not the best word, but I don't have another word. And I feel like it does explain it pretty well, but people might take offense to it. But genuinely, they're being passive in the relationship and you're almost training them to stay that way. And so what some people do, and I know some of you guys do this, when they don't quickly show up or act, you fill it in for them. You can do that, but it's better if you at least admit, I'm pretty disappointed that you did this. I'm going to do it this time around, but I'm expecting that from you next time. That's still better than just doing it, not saying anything. But the best version is let them show up. And if they truly cannot show up, then you can do it or maybe let that go temporarily, but always mention that it shouldn't be that way. You have to reinforce that. And the next one is you want to time your conversation strategically. If they had a tough day at work, that's probably not the best time to have these conversations. I think you understand that. Wait a little bit, be more mindful of what's going on because it's going to be more palatable for them to actually achieve this. And the next point is probably the point where I probably feel that I need to make a separate video because that is like the most strongest point in this video. It's really important. You want to appeal to their identity, not just tasks. If you have an avoidant partner, they have this desire to be they want to achieve. And so you want to communicate it like that. Maybe you can say, you're really good when you take initiative at work. I want to have that sense of you at home. That would make a big difference to me. I want more of that initiative when you're making dates for us. I want that initiative. Maybe they like that they're nurturing. You might say, you're so nurturing with your dog, with your family, and I love that side of you. I want to feel that side of you too. Do you think that you can lean into that a little bit more and be more affectionate? I see you as such a nurturing person. You appeal to that identity, and it makes them feel like it's more valuable. And so, let's summarize and we'll wrap it up. Make leadership and initiative more concrete. Express the ownership that they deserve to take, their full ownership. Don't take ownership of it. Stop unintentionally reinforcing their passive behaviors, time the conversation strategically, and appeal to their identity. So if you want to work on these things with me, that's pinned in the comments. But I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.